Hello, this is Mount Olympic back for a new series. This time on the Fire Risers, playing as the Patriotic Front, aka this guy. Thomas Rousseau, the only guy in this image that looks cool in this image. Because Biden looks kind of like he's angry, she looks like she doesn't care, he definitely doesn't look like he cares, and he looks like a chimpanzee. Ooh, pardon me. Fun fact. Just recently, the new Dystopia update came out, which added a bunch of things for China, Germany, EU, pardon me, Australia, but I haven't seen anything for it. Pardon me. Japan, Taiwan, but I haven't seen anything for that either, and whatever flavor it is. And a smaller thing called the New Hope, which adds some stuff for Russia. Okay. So yeah, we're being in the US, in this alternate night 2020s, and as the Patriotic Front, reclaim America, reclaim your birthright, mind your eyes, have you seen of the glory of coming of the Lord? He is trampling out the vintage where the grapes of wrath are stored. He hath loosed the faithful lighting of his terrible swift sword. His truth is marching on. Cool. I hope to do come back to the Fire Rises, because usually I do play this when I'm not recording. I would like to play as a Cascadia, and maybe the League of the South when they get the focuses in the I forgot what the thing was, update was. Supposed to be the next update, but it seems to be a totally different update now. Well, hopefully it comes out soon though. Also found out they're now making focuses for the Sons of Liberty and the Green Mountain Anarchist Collective. They'll be pretty important if you're playing the Patriotic Front, because these two groups are allied at the beginning of the Civil War and are a pain to kill, but we'll get there when we get there. I also want to go over the Russia playthrough, because why not? But that's a later date. All of these are later dates. I really want to see Cascadia win. Usually gets killed by the American People's Liberation Army, which sucks. Should actually play the APLA one time. But that's for another day. But for now, let us begin in the US. Starting the fire takes quite a long time, supposedly. Now this video, depending on what it will be, the only factions in the United States Civil War so far. There will be more, hopefully, if the dev team actually get to it. Biden's faction of the Union of America, the Trumpist American Constitutional Government, the commies and the American People's Liberation Army, us, the Patriotic Front when it comes to it, National Socialist Movement in Michigan, and the Atomwaffen Division in Florida. Now, first thing to note, you see all this very important stuff. Ignore it. Just mash this to max, press the go button, and maybe click on a bunch of these if they seem interesting. But just wait it out. I know that sounds like we're gonna do a bunch of waiting. That's why I'm trying to maximize its speed. You do need to do the focuses, preferably side with. Okay, dev teams, you may have a slight issue here. Both sides say side with Trump. This is supposed to side with Biden. Oh wait, no, side against Trump. Should be side with Biden. Much better. All these factions will be important. I also can't wait for the new Sons of Liberty focus tree now they're sort of announcing it. I bet it's going to be pretty hype. See them, they're already kind of strong at the beginning of the game if you're playing the Patriotic Front, even if they have deletable units. If you want to go with the separatist groups or other rebel factions, pick Biden. I mean, there may be. Hopefully, they add stuff for if you go with Trump, but it's most likely it's all going to be with Biden. So, engage with the media. Our best thing to do is make Trump succeed. Yes, it is possible, it's just don't bother with that, and once the movement appears, fund the movement as much as possible. Then they will give you a really poor, increase the likelihood of civil war count by a bit. Focus 3, go to the far right option. See in a bit. Also, you can ignore that. I do. So, for patriotic fronts, foreign ministers and now yeah, who cares? The patriotic front appears in Rhode Island and Connecticut, already controlling 2 states. Which are down. There's an Antifa around Buffalo and Onondaga. The state of Florida's in Albany. Jewish fascists take the Hudson Bay. We'll get into that later. Western Massachusetts is owned by the Army. Peaceful Taliban, okay. The Massachusetts region around Boston is taken by something called the Iron Congress, which even the wiki doesn't have a clue what they're about. Around, I think it's Grafton. Telling the Hanscott Airfields down here, not. Gaddafi has taken over Libya. Oil skyrockets. Oil crisis. The Atomorphin Division disbands. This is a lie, like in actual reality. The Atomorphin Division. It's believed they had actually dissolved in 2024. Although we do not know that for certain, counting they've claimed they've done it twice by now. So, who knows? Maine becomes its own independent state, or separatist state up here. The Sons of Liberty around this part. Burlington and Windhelm is where the Green Mountain Collective lives. Sons of Liberty around Orleans and Grafton. In New Hampshire, I believe the Green Mountain Company, which is separate from the Green Mountain Collective, which is the puppet of the Sons of Liberty, will start to exist. Also, if the Sons of Liberty take Maine, their capital is placed in Bangor. Probably over saying a bunch of stuff, but it's a fun fact. And if they take Boston, their capital then becomes Boston too. Fun stuff. New York becomes independent from New York City and Long Island. That's just up here. In Michigan, the Upper Peninsula is basically under control of Trump. Okay. Traverse City, Massachusetts. Inner Detroit and Detroit are controlled by biker gangs and the Black Mafia family. The state of, I believe the state of Michigan is in Singwa, and the National Socialist Movement is in Lansing, but it could be the other way around. I don't have no idea what Grand Rapids is doing. Probably dumb trying to get a bunch of stuff on you. Miami briefly will be under a gang group called La Raza. I have no idea who they are. You know I've played the game if I know locations. But will be quickly replaced with the UN. There is a way for the UN to actually win. I saw one guy actually managed to win the entire American Civil War as the UN, becoming the United Nations Mandate of America, but I have no idea how. Collier, it's not Tampa. Maybe Lakeland and Bradenton will be under Atomwaffen. This is under a Haitian gang. Or was it St. John? These will be under gangs. The northern part will be under the government. I think a biker gang in Jacksonville. I forgot who owns Tampa. The entirety of Arkansas is under the League of the South and will invade Louisiana State. The major cities of sorry, I'm espousing a bunch of stuff, but I want to not make this as boring as possible. Pardon me. Under BLM, in the regions of Valdosta and another region I forgot the name of, the Loyal Knights of the KKK will appear. I think in Hickory, it's either the KKK own it or a group of Christian nationalists called the Army of God will take over. Also, somewhere around here, the Red Rednecks will appear, which will also be one of the groups that will get a focus tree in the next update, which will be pretty cool. You also get the Southern Command, which is Bidenists and a bunch of the state of Georgia and South Carolina, which will do their own thing. Always meet in the middle. Texas, I believe Beaumont will be under the Texan nationalist movement, which can actually be funded by the Russians. The Russians can send a volunteer to help the independent Texanites. So that. Banditos take over Houston. The Aryan Freedom Network, I think it's called, movement. Takes over Amarillo. The Red Fort Worth and Dallas, as well as I think some other regions, will be under the US military. The rest is the state except for Van Horn, maybe El Paso and Brewster, which will be under Latino independence fighters. So around here in the Ute Reservation Treaty, the Reservation Trust Land, Mayota and Navajo will be under the Navajo territory. And around we have a clash against some resistance and some national marching. Around San Juan and major Arizona, maybe Hidalgo as well. The Arizona Border Security Group will establish itself. Oh yeah, the Capitol Hill Autonomous Zone now exists, or Capitol Hill Organized Protest. By the way, fun fact from a documentary I read, they were never actually organized. And Raz Simone was basically a warlord of the region for a while. Very fun fact. It will also disappear once the Civil War starts, which I don't see as very fun. I think you should, keep it around during the Civil War. Maybe expand it into controlling the entirety of Seattle. Around Malheur and probably Harney, but I'm not entirely sure. The New Aryan nations will appear, which fun. Also in Portland, the Rose Island Antifa will take command. I have seen if it takes over the region, there's two ways it could go. It could be the American Red Army or the Northwestern Republic. Whichever it chooses, either be a puppet of the APLA or be independent. Around, I think, Kanaskua, what do I say? Lincoln and Umatilla, the Cascadian Provisional Authority, which will come to Cascadian Republic, will take form, and the rest is split between the state of Washington and Oregon. In California, in the south, in San Diego and San Bernardino and Imperial County, possibly independence, but it's unlikely. Oh, that's happening. The state of California exists in the north in Modoc, Del Monte, Redding, I believe, Shasta County, and Paradise, and possibly Trinity County. Rigor strikes. There is the California State Militia, which is pro-Trump, while the state itself is pro-Biden. In Los Angeles, which has been split in half from east and west, they will be separated into Bloods and the Crips. If you're a Space King fan, the Bloods are the guys that B Positive is stealing from, or B Positive was stolen from Space King and they're using it. The APLA is usually around Monterey, Alameda, not Santa Rosa, but yeah, Santa Rosa. United States military. There's also a separate group in Berkeley, which is a gang. I think the Aryan Brotherhood is in Bakersfield. The Jewish Defense League, that's what we're going to see here. We'll get to them in a bit. Also, now we can kill the Capitol Hill group if we want to. Either Fresno or Bakersfield, you see the Aryan Brotherhood. I think Fresno has a biker gang. I have no idea what Stanislaus having. But yeah, here there's independent, the wildfires in California, who cares? There'll be a Latino independence group. In Wash and Elko, I believe, the Folkish resistant movement appears, and Reno's under some gangs. I think most of Idaho is under the Kingdom of Zion or Brigham's Army. Eureka, I believe, is owned by the state of Oregon or the military. I really don't remember. I remember that the folkish independent, folkish resistance movements around here under the gang in Reno. That is basically also may go as far as Utah, Idaho, Navajo, and Utah. That's basically a very brief summary of go hell once the Civil War kicks off. Was a screw of the outside world. Also, Mexico goes the actual government and religious, the rebirth of the Cristianos and the Zapatistas during Chapana and Yucatan. Also, I believe Puerto Rico goes independent. And Alaska and Hawaii are taken over by the Navy. You don't really remember them, like actual Americans don't remember Alaska that much. Hawaii they do sort of remember, but not by a mile. It's like asking them if they knew America owned Guam. Some may know it, most likely not that many. Yeah, things about to burn. The patriotic front is a march in Philadelphia. March on Philadelphia. The Green Mountain Anarchist Reform Collective. Cascadia has an idea. Are we still recording? We're still recording. So I think I haven't clashed from the end. That's good. Silence a tyrant. Biden is still very unpopular. Climate in Austria. Bill de Blasio is dead. Put it on us because we get more support because you ain't that liked, possibly. Hey, Turkmenistan. That's an Arab Republic. Really damn hard, so it's pretty difficult for the autonomous administration in Rojava to actually win. But technically, Northern Cyprus is its own independent state called the Turkish Republic of Cyprus. It's not owned by Turkey. It's under a Turkish puppet. like claiming how Cascadia and South Ossetia is technically, South Ossetia Alanya is technically under Russian control. In a sense, yes, because Turkey has its military there. In the other sense, no, because it is actually technically an independent country. It's just not recognized, except for those two countries and Transnistria. Was it technically Donetsk and Luhansk before they, or Lugansk, as they like to call themselves? What a G on H? No, there's a G. Before they actually did agree to merge with Russia, as they were invading regions. Technically, the full region of Luhansk is Starobeletsk, Severodonetsk, and Luhansk, and the entire region of Donetsk is Donetsk, Kramatorsk, and Mariupol. The Zaporizhzhia and Kherson are their own independent things. Technically, this part is actually not under Kherson, it's technically part of Mykolaiv, but minor things. Got some banned from social media. The Congo War, which is sort of happening now, because M23 is still, causing chaos in West Africa. Although they do actually have Goma and Bukavu, not just one or the other. And also now I said that Russia's just annexed South Ossetia and Abkhazia. It doesn't even, but the mod team didn't even give them a small little note like they do with the other two. Not cool, man. Not cool. The Wisconsin papers have come out where Biden's basically scammed his way to winning. The American people are claiming what's the alternative, like now, how basically there's no real opposition to Trump. That's because the Democrats don't have actually a guy that will actually do anything. Like green economics. So it's most likely JD Vance will take over after Trump is gone. Most likely. That or Marco Rubio. That's because unless they got that supposed bill where Trump would run until 2028 and manage to get it bipartisan by claiming that if you've done 2 terms, you can have 1 non-consecutive term, like how Trump is asking for 2 consecutive terms after it's 1 non-consecutive. But by technicality, Obama may return, possibly, if he's even still alive. My computer hasn't died yet, so that's good. Also, Michael Flynn is back from retirement. I have no idea who Michael Flynn is. Just some defense guy, it seems. And Trump is declared victor of the election. There's been a massacre in Berkeley. States are going to get a recount, even though it's literally just been declared. Extremists take over Mecca. That's gonna be fun. The whole series is now gonna be bloodbath. Trump's now inaugurated. Accelerate the conflict. I don't care about world peace. You know that jazz. I care about flags and conflict. And the American People's Liberation Army has been formed. And why is there a cat girl? Far-right stronghold. Burma's gone for a military coup. Pro-rights and stuff in Russia was still recording, thank God. Okay. Oh. There we go. So this is how we separate ourselves from the casual gamer into our protective roles. So we could go with Biden, but which we'd say no to hate, say no to bigotry, oh beautiful for space, the sky, for amber waves of grain, for pebble mountains of majesty, above rooted plains, America, America, even though the flag is nowhere near close to purple, the American People's Liberation Army, revolution in our very heart of capitalism, in our hearts is placed the power of greater than their or gold, greater than their might arms magnified 1,000-fold. We can bring the birth of a new world from the ashes of the old, for a union make us strong. The patriotic front that we're going with, reclaim America, reclaim your birthright. The eyes have seen the glory of the coming of the Lord, and he is trampling out the vintage where the grapes of wrath has stored. He hath loosened the fateful lightning of his terrible swift sword. His truth is marching on. By the way, in the 2028 election, I would like that Thomas Rousseau ran as an independent, because I think it would be cool that he did. Most likely not, but I think it would be very funny if he did. The National Socialist Movement, which will get me cancelled. Fight for the future of your race. The flag are lowered before the dead who still live. The Storm Division swear, his hand clenched for his fist, that the day will come for revenge, no forgiveness, when hail and Saig he will ring through the fatherland. And finally, the Atomwaffen Division. By the way, it isn't actually that hard, even though it's classified as the hardest faction in the game. There will be harder, trust me. The Free Suns will be much harder. Burn this Russian world down to ash. Burning, looting, riots, destroying the masses. Nightfall brings death. Cities reduced to ashes. By the way, I am definitely doing a Atomwaffen playthrough. But I will do it with my face revealed, so that when I say it, you know I'm not really a fan of saying what the focus is. I'll probably do say what probably not even read the focuses. Probably just look at the benefits and click off, like the others. Not doing the National Socialist Movement because generally don't like them. The APLA, not a major fan of those. Definitely do an Atomwaffen division playthrough behind my mic on, so you get to see my beautiful mug as I play these trash. Wait, I shouldn't really burn trash. Well, there's garbage, but my mom never says to burn trash. Sorry if you're a member of this. You guys are still pretty cool in your own right. I like your flag. Plus, also, you kind of look cool. Not gonna lie, this image looks cool. But the true Sigmas will go with the patriotic front. You can hear that? That's my stress bubbles in my arm. That's just happened. New York Stock Exchange has just been bombed. I would say yes, but I would class as supporting terrorism. Then again, yes. The London Stock Exchange is much better. Go there. Now that we have opposed the tyrant, we will go with supporting National Socialism, even though technically the patriotic front is anti-Nazi. And even though it's technically neo-fascist, which personally I'm not a fan of, classical fashion all the way, in the game they're classed as classical fascists, which even though Thomas Rousseau is basically has claimed to liking neo-fascism, basically a very unique way of saying ethnostatism. But yeah, game, get that right. Anyway, prefer classical fascism. Plus, all the guys that are getting resistance support aren't really all Nazis. I mean, technically, the National Social Movement is, but not all of them are. The militia take over Missouri. Protests. Riot at the White House. Congo has destroyed a cult. That happened. I have no idea what a faithless elector is, but alright. Myanmar is in a civil war. Good for you, chaps. The movement is basically everywhere at this point. The Congo's war has gone much worse, even though they just took out a different group. Oh. The defense of Congo has taken out the M23, but somehow the Katangan Freedom Group is still around, such as the Republic of Congo Brazzaville. Somehow Central Africa is still not in this fight. Texan family killed in standoff or crib. Save. Time for the third impeachment attempt. The America's been struck by the movement. If this is going that strong. So nothing in Montana. Montana just be chilling. And Wyoming. Nothing in Wyoming. I don't see anything. Is there? Yeah, nothing in Dakota, Wyoming, Montana, it seems. Or Nebraska or Kansas. Wow, a few places don't have it. The to the moon thing that actually happened in our timeline, being Reddit, is a decent idea. The DRC has destroyed the Kinshasa, the Central African Republic was supporting. Then again, they still haven't got Kinshasa, which is still under the Popular Republic of Congo, by totalitarian socialists and the rest of the junta. Alright, since we cannot do anything, the only option is to chill. Again. I need to play the song of Rhodesia. Got it right here. Music. Rhodesia, Rhodesia, Erica, Rhodesia, Rhodesia, Rhodesia. What's happened? Rhodesia. It's one way to book a burr, not the song I'm looking for. Oh well, that's close. Ah, the Death of Wall Street. Before I get into the next part, I'm gonna play some music. Rhodesians never die. Because I forgot to play it last video. Also now that the Civil War is literally about to start, so yeah. Listen to some tunes, as this will be the last day of the United States of America. The story of Rhodesia, a land both fair and great. On the 11th of November, an independent state. This was much against the wishes of certain governments. We tried to take sound and make us so repent, but we're whole regions that we fight to fucking thin. We'll keep our land, free land from the enemy coming. We'll keep them off the land and busy, rivers running dry. I have to run, we'll conquer whole regions never die. Cinderman's mother, they had there was a hate. We're not securing this land free, we'll never be too pretty. The men and boys are fighting, the things they'll get. And most people who never begin, oh yeah, all reason why you fight to fucking thing. Land the free land from the enemy coming in. Deep in north, the zombies put out rivers running dry. Earthland will prosper for regions never die. This little nation for our children's children too. Cascadia region, no other land to do. Stand tall in the sunshine, the truth behind our sides. If we have to go alone, we'll go alone, we'll cry, we'll cover all the reasons that we fight through thick and thin. We'll keep our land, a free land from the enemy coming in. Keep them off the Zambezi, and rivers running dry. And the land will prosper for regions never die. All the regions and new fight through thick and thin will keep our land, a free land from the enemy coming in. We'll keep them north of the Zambezi, where rivers running dry. And mighty land will prosper for regions never die. That was Rhodesians Never Die with Rhodesian patriotic song from Camarade Cosmos. Watch his videos, by the way. He's a very famous music person, music channel, foreign music channel. Hasn't made a video in 5 years, but still. Let time passeth and my game to crash, because this thing literally does crash your game. You just should have started by now. Yeah, the thing is. Yes! Alright, let's go into a greater detail of who's who of this new world order. So, there is us, the Patriotic Front, led by Thomas Rousseau. It's made up of the National Fascist Party, which I need to check if it's a real thing, and the most likely answer is no. The answer is technically no. Oh, yes, there was a National Fascist Party, but that was the one that Mussolini ran, so this party doesn't exist. Neither do the Blue Shirts. There's the National Justice Party and the National Socialist Club. Which I think the National Justice Party did exist. Which does exist in the US under one Mike Pianovich, or Mike Enoch Isaac Pianovich, or Mike Enoch. It's also part of the Right Stuff, a neo-Nazi blog. Go there if you want to, don't if you have to. This group was dissolved in 2023. Well, they do have a cool kind of badge. It's just the NGP in white on a red dot with a red circle around that and a red circle around that. I need to check if the National Socialist Club is real though. Well, some of these groups are real, some of these are fake. The GOP is real, it's the Republican Party, because the GOP's actual name is not the Republicans, it's the Grand Old Party. You live and you learn. Yes, it does exist. To be exact, the 131st one. The National Socialist Club does exist, or its full name is the National Socialist Club 131. Because the term 131 just means is alphanumeric for anti-communist action. Somehow. Which it was founded in 2019 and was famed for being a part of the July the 6th attack, or July the 6th coup attempt. Alright, and they currently have 30 to 40 members, so not that strong. What's the other? The Sons of Columbia. I'm pretty sure those are fake. Yeah, they're fake. They're based the name of a song. For what the Sons of Columbia are, the basic I think there's a notification that goes over them in more detail. But we got our man, Thomas Rousseau, even though the thing says that we're classical fascists, he's technically a neo-fascist. Even though the thing tells us that we're classical fascism and we have our own separate little custom ideological thing. Although I support classical fascism more than I support neo-fascism, classical fascism is much cooler. You still can't puppet a country for some reason. We can't join a faction, and so there's things that we can't do as either ideology. Well, that's fun. Well, I guess we need to talk about our new fun neighbors. So to north of us, as I said, the Hanson Air Force Command. That's what they are, led by the U.S. Air Force under Gary W. Keefe. We have low morale and the American Civil War to deal with. We have low popular support, political cornucopia of ideologies, economic instability, and a second continental army. Our army is called the Second Continental Army, by the way. To the east of us is the American Iron Front, led by the Iron Congress, who can be simply put as anti-extremism. To be honest, no one knows what their whole deal is. Not even the wiki, which class themselves as other. I personally think they're just generally anti-extremism on any count, left or right. So that's their whole deal. The Jewish Defense League, with their own private little ideological thing, are also fascists. Jewish fascists, to be exact. Which do exist. They have their own fascist type. Jewish Defense League, yeah, or JDL. Supposedly they were linked with the Catch Party, which has been banned since 1994 in Israel, for ideology being Kahanism, which is the political views of their leader Mir Kahan and the Kak Party. Basically anti-Arab and basically extreme Zionism, basically believe in a Jewish theocratic state and believe all Arabs living in Israel are enemies. So basically they're basically ethno-nationalism. Theocratic ethno-nationalism, basically. Led by one Shelby Rubin. In the other regions, and so it is just Buffalo, not Onondaga, is the state of New York under the New York State Democratic Committee of Andrew Cuomo. In Albany, the actual capital of New York, not New York City, surprisingly. In Buffalo, there's the Buffalo I thought I said Antichrist, it's anarchist commune led by Anti-Fascist Action, Antifa, wasn't chaos once again. In the regions of New Hampshire and Vermont, in the region of, as predicted, Grafton and Orleans, is the Sons of Liberty, who aren't puppeting, but they're basically allied with the Green Mountain Company, who are. It's not known because there's barely anything about them, because this was only recent and there's still issues in fixing. Also, their tag is GMC, their tag is FAA. Theirs is AOD. AOF. Oh yeah, they're on their own separate faction called the Association of the Freed. I probably need to go over them. So, the Green Mountain Company is basically I think it's supposed to be a mercenary group that has taken over Concord and southern half of New Hampshire under Christopher Hebben. The Sons of Liberty are right-wing libertarians who believe in extreme liberty. So basically the Hell Divers, but without all the high-tech stuff, under Carla Garinkel, or President Emeritus. I have no idea what any of that means. And in Vermont, there is the Anarchist Collective in the Green Mountains, hence led by David Van Dersen. In Maine, there is the state of Maine, led by the Maine Democratic Party of Janet Mills. Now that's everything in the New England sphere. We'll come back to you very shortly because we've got other stuff to deal with. Because this is not just a us problem. So there is the Union of America, led by the Liberal Caucus of the Democratic Party under Joe Biden, the middleman. There's also the GOP, Grand Old Party, led by the America First Republican Party of Trump. In Michigan, where everything's on fire. In Grand Rapids and Lansing, Lansing was the state. The Michigan Democratic Party under Gretchen Whitmer is still holding strong. In Traverse City, the Hutari clerical fascist militia under David Bryan Stone Jr. is standing strong. In Saginaw, or Flint, basically, the National Socialist Movement of America under Bert Kolchuchi, he is taking strong home and is definitely doing stuff. in Detroit Central, the Detroit Highwaymen were supposedly market liberal or right anarchism. It's really messing with if they're actual right-wing anarchists or market liberals, led by Ben Atkins. I have no idea who Ben Atkins is, but he looks cool. And in the inner city of Detroit, the Black Mafia family under Terry Felmori has taken full control. And as I said, Trump takes off peninsula. So, how's the Deep South doing? Well, the League of the South has taken over Arkansas, led by the League of the South, which should be LOTS, not LS, because OATH goes as LS as well. The factionalisms of the KKK, the Republicans, and another brand of the League of the South, and Antifa, or the Anti-Fascist Action. This brand of the League of the South, Southern Nationalists, is led by Mitchell Hill. The state of Louisiana is under the Louisiana Democratic Party of John Bell Edwards. The state of Mississippi is under the Mississippi Republican Party of Tate Reeves. The state of Alabama is under the Alabama Republican Party of Kay Ives. There's the Black Liberation Army, led by John J. Johnson, the Grand Master, cool name, led by, sorry for swearing, the Non-Fucking Around Coalition. Fun stuff. So, in the east, not west, of the Deep South, in North Carolina, the Southern Federal Command under the North Carolina Democratic Party of Roy Cooper has taken control. The states of South Carolina are under the South Carolina Republican Party of Henry McMaster, and the state of Georgia under the Georgia Republican Party of Brian Kemp. So there, the loyal knights of the KKK with a much better flag than the actual one. Jesus Christ, their actual one sucks. No offense to the guys. The numbers have really gotten short. Prefer them to have the Blood Cross flag, like they have sort of here. The Ku Klux Klan, about the Ku Klux Klan, the Loyal White Knights of the KKK branch, to be exact, under Chris Barker. Is it Barker? Baker? Barker, yeah. There's the Army of God, which are Christian fundamentalists. So, think jihadis were Christian. So, crusaders, basically. Theocrats. Led by Donald Spitz and the Army of God. And in Atlanta, Charlottetown, Greenville, and Charleston, the Red Rednecks. Under the Redneck Revolt under the Rednecks and the People's Congress. I have no idea who the Rednecks are. I should actually look them up. Now the Redneck Revolt. The group called itself the Redneck Revolt appeared in 2009, led by which were preceded by the John Brown Gun Club. So they're basically far left extremists, but they do support Antifa, but they support gun violence, basically, or at least they support guns. That's a very simplified way of saying it. So in Florida, there's the state of Florida, whereby the Republican Party of Florida and Ron DeSantis. I thought Ron DeSantis is a Democrat. In Jacksonville, MS-13, who I think is a biker gang, but I have no idea. Led by Miguel Diaz is taking over. In Orlando, the Warlocks under Big John Brown's gang have taken over under Big John. In Palm Beach, the Zao Pound, which is some Haitian gang, I believe, under Macazao, the Macazio, so the Zio Pound, and the Macazio has taken over. In Miami, as I said, the La Raza under Salvador Ruiz has taken over, will be replaced with the UN. And in Florida, the Accelerationists Atom Offroad under Brandon Russell, if they win against Florida, which they most likely will, he will be replaced with James Russell. He's also the only group in Florida with a focus tree. Like how technically the National Social Movement is the only group in Michigan with a focus tree. We're the only group in New England for now. Can't wait for these two to get a focus tree in the region with a focus tree. None of you have a focus tree. Only the American People Liberation Army, will get to those, have a focus tree. None of you have focus tree. None of you have focus tree. None of you have focus tree. There are focus trees coming to you yet. Most of the focus trees are coming from down south, except for one you will get yet. So before I get cancelled, go over to Texas. There's the Texan Nationalist Movement, led by the Texan First under the power of Whigs. There's also the League of the South group, the Free Texas Party, the Texan Republican Party, and Texas First with the Republican group. The Whigs are under Nate Smith and can be supported by the Russians. The Banditos in Houston, by the Banditos under Clifford Robertus, so the bandits basically. In Dallas, Austin, San Antonio, and Fort Worth, the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms and Explosives, or the Federal Command of Texas, that is the weirdest group that should be taken over, the Department for Exotic Goods, basically. Under Steve Dattelbach is taken over. The rest is controlled by the state of Texas under the Republican Party of Texas. I have no idea what their political views are. Up north in Almaro is the Aryan Freedom Network under Dalton Henry Stout, which has links with the KKK, or at least a very small branch of them. There's the Texan Red Guard, led by the Red Guard and the Workers' Council, who are technically Maoists. Fun stuff. There's the Burrito Azteca, which are some Mexican gang led by Alberto Rivera Barrio. And the Texan Liberation Army, led by Carlos Monte and his dictatorship. Now to the New Mexico-Arizona regions. There's the state of New Mexico under the Democratic Party of New Mexico, and the state of Arizona under the Arizona Republican Party of Del Duce and you under Michelle Lucian Grimshaw. They said I said already. Now in Yuma, there's the Brown Berets under the Chicano Liberation Army. I don't know what Chicano is, under David Sanchez. And in the native lands, the Navajo Nation exists under the Navajo National Council of Jonathan Nez. Fun. Now to the Idaho, Utah, Nevada region. We're getting close to the coastline, but we're still in the desert, so the Navajo desert regions, basically. So there's the Western Military Command of the United States Armed Forces of Michael J. Turley. There's Brigham's Army, the Quorum of the 12 Apostles, or Mormons for Democracy, basically. So the fundamentalists of the 12 that's also there. This group is led by Russell M. Nelson. There's the Federal Air Command under the U.S. Air Force of Charles Q. Brown Jr. The Vagos under the Vagos of Andrew Lorenzo, and the Folkish Resistant Movement. The symbol is incorrect. The symbol of Folkism is 3 triangles, all interconnected, led by the Folkish Resistance Movement under Randy Krager. In the Cascadia regions, we've got, as I said, the Cascadian Provisional Authority, led by the Cascadian Front. It will have its own democratic elections, currently under Cascadian Provisional Authority. Can't wait to play them. There's the New Aryan Nations, led by the High Chapel of the Aryan Nations, and only them, under Kevin MacDonald. They are also under a provisional authority. There's Seattle, under the Washington State Democratic Party of John Isley, and Oregon, under the Democratic Party of Oregon, under K. Brown. Now, sort of finally, we've got the, before we go into California, we've got the United States Naval Command under the United States Naval Commander Michael M. Galday. They have actually taken over Puerto Rico, so technically Puerto Rico was never independent. I'm pretty sure everyone else has just taken up all our American holdings. Hey, now to California. So in the South, as predicted regions I did, there is the state of California under the California Democratic Party of Gavin Newsom. He has been recently gaining popularity against Trump. I've got it wrong, it's not Santa Rosa, it's Trinity Council. My apologies. In the north, in Modoc, Del Monte, Paradise, and Sacramento, the California militia, state militia under Scott Witz, take control. He will create several war crimes, further mentioned that. In Trinity, San Francisco, Monterey, Almadino, and Northwest Los Angeles, there's the American People's Liberation Army under the Party of Socialism and Liberation, the Octoberists under Michael Peiser. They will separate into several groups during these Workers' Congress. Can't wait for that. That's the same fighting. In Los Angeles, it's been slipped by the Crips, or by Joanna Keefe or Keefe D. Davis, and the Bloods, whose symbol is the B positive in Space King 2. If you've seen it, you know what the symbol is. Led by Regis Dean Thomas. And yeah, it is actually Bakersfield. So, the Aryan Brotherhood and the Brigands Group. Not only Brigands Group because they haven't known anyone else, and the Tyler Brigham. In Fresno, there's the Serenos Gang under Ernesto Gomez. Stanislaw, another gang called the Nortinos under Dear Cervantes. So it looked like Don Quixote's name, which was Miguel de Cervantes. So Don Quixote's owning Modesto. In Berkeley, the Hells Angels under Barger, Sonny Barger, have taken control, and the San Clara region is under the San Jose Defense Committee, under James Mitchell, who basically just want to keep the region safe, basically. And the Black Guerrilla family under Trevor White, an ironic name for a group with Black Guerrilla family and their leader's White, Mr. White. He has taken over Santa Rosa. So the major important players that we need to really care of in our focus tree, since I'm following the National Front, is us, obviously, the National Socialist Movement, the Atomwaffen Division, the League of the South, the Aryan Freedom Network, the Folkish Freedom Movement, and the New Aryan Nations. Supposedly you can get the Aryan Brotherhood, but they need to win against the American People's Liberation Army, and that's a stain in itself. We have no friends in the Navajo Arizona regions. We do have the White Knights of the KKK, but they will merge with the League of the South. So, but before I go, you know what? So next time we'll start off with the Vanguard, because explaining all of this to you has got me tired, and this is the start. I won't be back for 2 weeks because I'm going to my dad's, who we're both going to Parkfield in the Glossop region to meet my grandparents, who have brought their relatives from Australia. So, if my Australian relatives are actually watching this, which is highly unlikely, good day, mate. Thomas speaking. Thomas Lloyd Wilkinson, if you don't remember, which probably don't, kind of the last time I went there, I was 18 months old. But hey, till then, we'll see you. I will see everyone then, I guess. Because we have a lot to do. And a lot of stuff to do. So, till then, hope to see you next time. Hope to see you again. This is Martin Motors signing off. Good day, goodbye, goodbye.